Hey everyone. So let's talk about that scene from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. There's going to be spoilers ahead. So if you haven't seen the movie or don't want to know, I would highly recommend not watching this video. But it's something that I got to talk about. I got to be real candid about. So let's go. All right, so let's talk about it. The scene, I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm going to be talking about. It's the leaving the Brachiosaurus behind on Isla Nublar. It's the death of Jurassic World, the death of Jurassic Park, the death of the dream of a dinosaur theme park, and it's an extremely emotional scene. So it's not something I expected out of a fifth entry in a movie about like a franchise about dinosaurs. And when the scene happened, I lost it. I completely lost it. I was sobbing so uncontrollably that my wife had to reach over and and kind of try to stabilize me. It's funny, two movies this year have really wrecked me, and the first was of course Avengers Infinity War, the very end. Spoilers for those who haven't seen that movie, but when Spider-Man is dying on screen and turning to dust, I mean that just really messed me up. Amazing movie. But the second is this scene of the Brachiosaurus trying to flee the island and can't, and it's stuck there. And everyone on the ship just has to watch it die. And I think in analyzing my own emotions and feelings afterwards, a lot was happening during that scene for me. I was 10 years old again. I was 10 years old when I saw the first Jurassic Park, 9, 10-ish. And I was probably at the time too young to see it, but my dad knew I loved dinosaurs a whole lot. I wanted to be a paleontologist, and I really loved dinosaurs. And we would drive hundreds of miles from the East Coast to go to like Dinosaur National Park and go to museums and see the bones of these giant creatures. And so he knew I really loved dinosaurs, and so he took me as a young boy to see Jurassic Park, and it was incredible. It was terrifying and amazing, and literally something like my imagination coming to life. The movie changed the trajectory of my life in a lot of ways. I went from one to be a paleontologist to one work in visual effects, and I worked towards that. And years later, I did that, and it was a wonderful ride. But anyone who's seen Jurassic Park knows the first dinosaur you ever see is the Brachiosaurus. It's the first time as a child, I saw in a way a living, breathing dinosaur. A dinosaur brought to life, things that I'd only seen as skeletons and bones, and there it was, brought to life on the big screen, and it was amazing. And fast forward, I'm now 35, and I'm sitting in the theater, and I'm watching the first dinosaur I ever saw alive perish in an absolute horrific and tragic way. And that was heart-wrenching. I was suddenly 10 years old again, watching this creature who, I'd grown up with, perish. And there was nothing I could do about it, and there's nothing anyone could do about it. And it was just heartbreaking. And that, coupled with the fact, to give a little personal information, my father passed tragically less than 6 months ago from pancreatic cancer. And so in that moment, when I'm watching the Brachiosaurus stranded there and dying, I was not only reliving my childhood, but I was reliving the emotions I felt losing my father several months ago, because it was my father who took me, and me alone, to see the first Jurassic Park movie. My mother didn't go. She had to stay and watch my little brother. It was just me and my father experiencing that for the first time when I was 10. And then so it was strange. It was like, in a weird sort of way, I wasn't just watching the fictitious animal perish on screen. I was watching something I had shared with my father who had passed. I was watching, all of that go. And I'm going to be honest, it's emotional even talking about it. It hit me hard. And listen, it's not me being sad and regretful about it. It's beautiful. It's an absolutely beautiful, sad, tragic moment. I'm very thankful to everyone who worked on the film, who brought that moment to life, because it was incredible. It was absolutely amazing. It may be, in some ways, the most emotional moment, I would say, of the entire franchise, which is incredible for it showing up in a fifth entry. But it is. And so yeah, it was. And I wasn't the only person who was upset. Clearly, I was upset on a level that maybe not everyone is upset about. But there were other people openly crying in the theater during that part. And I think it's because, for hundreds, thousands of us, the first time, they talk about in the movie, do you remember the first time you saw a dinosaur? And for a lot of us, yeah, the first time we saw a dinosaur was when we saw the Brachiosaurus on screen in Jurassic Park, when Sam Neill's character, Dr. Grant, and they're pulling up in the Jeep, and there it is, and it's just massive. It's massive. And this thing that you never could have imagined ever seeing is there. So a lot of us have that memory, and now a lot of us are having had watched, that die, and it's very emotional. Maybe not for some people, but for I think a lot of people who really love Jurassic Park and really love the franchise, it's a very emotional moment, and it represents so much. It's the death of the dinosaur. It's the death of John Hammond's dream. It's the death of the park. It's the death of the island. It's the death of being able to even go back to that. As much as people get tired of saying, oh, they're always going back to the well, but it's one of those things that you knew, even if you weren't going back to the island, that out there somewhere there's still an island with dinosaurs on it. And that's amazing. That doesn't exist anymore. That's gone. From what I understand, all the dinosaurs had been transferred, or mostly transferred, from Site B when Jurassic World opened. So there's not even dinosaurs on a second island, to my knowledge. They were there. And so the ones that didn't make it, they perished on that island. Now, sure, volcanoes aren't like typically 100%, but for all intents and purposes for the story, that was a big door slamming closed. Kudos for the filmmakers having the bravery to do that. I know in the corporate world, it's that could be viewed as a big risk, but it's what's needed to move the franchise forward, I think. But man, that moment was just incredible and heartbreaking, and I'd share my experience. So if you listen to this, thank you for subscribing and for watching. If you could leave a thumbs up, great. If you want to share the video, that'd be great. And yeah, life will find a way, guys. So I'll see you next video.